Hey, what's up, everyone? How are you all doing today, wherever you're joining me from? Great to see you all here today for live trading London, New York crossover with the Harmonic scanner. And I'm just going to start sharing screen. So please mute yourself out. And if you've got any questions, then we can make some time at the end, or I'll check the chat and we can have a look at the questions as we go along as well, or if you've got any pairs you'd like me to look at or any charts you'd like me to analyze. So as you know, I look at the Harmonic scanner, and if you're on the 7-day free trial, then please go into the units section in the Financial Freedom Movement group, because there's a lot of useful information in there which is free for you this week. It's taken us about 3.5 years to get everything sorted. Sorry, some of my alerts going off. And then when you join, if you choose to join us, you'll come into the Ninja Traders group, and there are units in there. So please go through those. They are not professionally produced. They're very accessible, very relatable, ordinary people like you and me who've been on our Forex journey and been consistent and learned a strategy and kept at it. And you don't need a lot of pips a day to achieve the goals that you want to achieve, whether that's like me, retiring. I'm affected by COVID in that my holiday apartments have been closed down, holiday letting apartments. And so it's made me a better trader, especially doing live trading as well, because I've had to accelerate my journey and be consistent and stick to the rules and be patient and keep learning in order to replace the bulk of my seasonal income, which takes place spring to autumn. And I do have a small pension, but not enough to live off. So thank goodness I started Forex in May 2018 and now into the third year. So in the Ninja Forex Traders, the units have been very carefully put together and refined and polished. And, you know, we've really got it down over 3.5, 4 years. So it's a fantastic group. So we learn a lot by being with each other and helping each other. And even if people aren't on your own specific team, there's a lot of cross-fertilization, and we do help each other because we all need support and help from time to time. So that makes us a very tight-knit, very welcoming and very supportive community. That's another alert gone off. So let's have a look at some of those. So I've had 2 alerts go off, OrdCAD and CAD JPY. Now these were setups as well from this morning, but let's see what they're doing. So this alert, now these white lines are my pitchforks. They've come off the scanner. I put them onto the scans, as you know, and then the orange lines are my support and resistance. So that's quarter theory, which, as you know, I'm a great fan of. So we've had an alert go off. That's the dog barking at something on TV. Sorry about that. Just minimize it on in the background. So let's have a quick look at Forex Factory for the news for today. So Japanese bank holiday and coming up. So that's in half an hour. So we don't want to get into CAD JPY, because in half an hour's time, this is Paris time, we've got red flag news on the Canadian dollar at 4 p.m. So by 3 p.m. when I come off mine and you come on to Sharon's session, we won't want to be in a USD trade, an hour either side, just let the market settle down. And then that German Constitutional Court hearing on quantitative easing, they partially ruled against the European Union quantitative easing, i.e. printing more money because of COVID. So that spiked the Euro USD trade. I don't know if any of you were in that for a sell. I was. It stopped me out, but I got back in again and did my pips for the day on that one. So we'll have a look at CAD JPY, but there it is. But I'm not sure we want to get into it. It's telling us at the moment that it's still, this is my 62 moving average, so it's the 1 minute most current trend, it's broken through support and resistance. It's broken through that pitchfork there, just coming back down. So at the moment, you've got a buy signal on that orange line, you've got a buy signal on the quarter theory and on the pitchfork, but we don't want to get into this because we've got the red flag news in half an hour. Japanese yen is a bank holiday yesterday and today as well. Now, normally it doesn't matter because if you've got one half of the pair, i.e. Canadian dollar trading, then you're good to go. You can trade that. But I don't want us to think about a trade on this for at least an hour now, while the market decides if that news is going to spike it. Okay, so I'm going to close CAD JPY even though the alert went off. And the other this is when trading view glitches. This is OrdCAD that has decided to go right down. I'll take that off and see if I can clear up quarter theory. So that at the moment is in the middle of nowhere. I haven't got anything on that. It's between pitchforks, which is, if you hear me say it's in the middle of nowhere, it means I haven't got any trades on that. So I'm just going to close that, see how many pairs we can get through for setups for you. Close that one. And the other one was OrdCAD. Yeah, I don't want to trade that because it's between pitchforks. Sorry, so I don't know why that alert went off. Must be from earlier. So New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. Again, problem with this is the news coming up at 2:30. It's coming into the extensions, which act like Bollinger Bands if you're on BYOB, which normally should ping price back into the scan. And also you'll see I've got two pitchfork sets crossing, and the reason for that is because price had moved out of one and into the other, but it may have moved back since I did that this morning. So let me just see where it is at the moment. So at the moment it is rejecting off that lower level and looks like it may well come back into that scan, the most recent one there, rather than this old green one, although it's still below the 62 moving average. Let me get rid of that there. Don't need that. So it's just touching that outer edge of that old green scan at the moment on the extensions. And as I say, we're not going to get into this until the market settles down after red flag news. So you need to leave it till Sharon's session if you are going to look at what CAD is doing at the moment. So at the moment we've got the 62 EMA, the 1 minute trend is pointing down, but it is still above the 15-minute trend. As I say, it's pushed out into these outer extensions on the older scan there. I'm going to take that one off as well. Not that I expect it really to go all the way back up there. So I'll just remind you of where we are on, just write this down, NZD CAD, that we've looked at it. So it's still pushing down. So no trade for us at the moment. What I am looking for it to do, otherwise I'll draw a secondary pitchfork somewhere or other to try and capture it down here. I don't think I've got any other scans. So I'm looking for it to do something like that and come up into my scan I've got. But if it carries on falling, then I'll look at a secondary, do a second pitchfork, which is a little bit more advanced. You draw it out into the middle of nowhere, and then it's X to A, and then line up either C or D, opposite direction to the current pitchfork. But if you can't do that, and ask me, because in one session I can show you how to do it. If you can't do that, then you look for a best fit with as many touches as you can get. So if we come across one, then I can, while we're going through these, because I have got a couple of second pitchforks here and there, then we can have a quick look at them. Euro GBP, that did move down very nicely in London. Now London is this yellow, where the yellow starts there. So I had now it's come out of this pitchfork now. Let me remove that alert. So as you can see here, the white line is my pitchfork. It rejected twice off that pitchfork and rejected off quarter theory. So I need 3 confirmations for a trade. So that's 2 confirmations. And then as soon as it dropped down into below that 62, you've got your 3 confirmations for a trade. I'll just take that off so it's a bit less busy for you to look at. So if you put a short position, short for sell, long for buy, and ideally you want your stop loss to be price to be covered by at least 2 of your confirmations, ideally 3, but I've got my stop loss covered by both quarter theory and pitchfork. So that helps give me confidence that I've got less chance of being stopped out on a trade because price has to smash its way through those 2 barriers. So at the moment, what we've got on the 1 minute is price has rejected off quarter theory, and it looks like it's heading back up into the extensions. I'll just see if I've got any other scans on that. But until it does that, there's no trade on that. And I have looked at the scan. I haven't got any new hourly scans. I go for scans with a minimum of 80 pips. So that's a minimum of 20 pips per pitchfork. And I must have a pitchfork touch because that gives me the strongest reversal. I'm looking for reversals off the pitchfork. There it is there. It does look like it's trying to come back up. That might have been that, let me take that off, the German court ruling that caused that spike down because the news they'd ruled against, it says tentative on Forex Factory here, German Constitutional Court ruling, tentative, and that came out at about just after open of London, saying they'd partially ruled against the European Union going for quantitative easing, printing more money to support the markets and the economy during the pandemic. And that's what's caused it to drop immediately 50 pips. So I'm always a bit cautious about a trade when it's done that, because it can equally, like that one, that must be news, gone straight up there, and then it wants to come down almost as quickly. So no trade for us on Euro GBP. I'm hoping it'll come back into the scan unless it has, unless I've got another pitchfork further down. I'll just see if anything pops up. Because once you've put pitchforks on, they're valid forever. We've been trading pitchforks that are 300 days old, a year old pitchforks. They're still valid forever once you've got them on accurately. Sorry, talking and trying to do that. I haven't got any more here. I haven't got any in this area. I do have quite a lot on here. These are all obviously much further back, so there's nothing there. So if you wanted to, on this one, as it's moved out of there, you could draw your second pitchfork. You put the first point back here, and then you go X, A, and you have to line it up in the opposite direction to this. So lining up either with the C or the D point. I won't do it now because we'll get through some more pairs, but you've been looking for it to come down here and then see if this is going to carry on down into that second pitchfork, which would be equally valid. I'm going to take that off while we're here. Okay, so nothing on Euro GBP, and I'll just save that. And we'll move on. So this is Euro AUD, which is Australian dollar, which again made its move halfway through London. It's rejected twice off the pitchfork down there. So it's coming back up to meet quite a nice area actually, because you've got pitchfork and quarter theory close together. So I'd want to see it come up above that 62 EMA, which gives us a buy. Sorry, it's glitching. That's TradingView always does that. That's on the 5 minute. You just come down to the 1 minute. And the reason I'm on the 1 minute is for that precise entry. I do not like trading with big stop losses, and this strategy enables me to trade with a 10 pip stop loss, except for GBP pairs where you have to put 15 and you need to put your stop loss 10 pips from the pitchfork, or make sure that you've extended it a bit. I do relax that rule. It's just coming up here. So you want to have one or at least two confirmations to cover you. So this is our long position, and this is what I'm looking for. And I wouldn't get in it myself unless I'm just break and retest of that quarter theory, because the art to trading is patience, as I've learnt the hard way over the months I've learnt it. Don't force it, just let the trades come to you. I aim for 25 pips a day. You don't need a lot of pips to achieve your goals. So you can get that down to about 10 there. So what we're looking for here is this, and it may decide it's going to consolidate along here, because euro is a London pair and Australian dollar is an Asian pair, so it may decide it's not doing any more for today. Let me just get rid of that, and I can get rid of the brush mark. So if I take you back to the hourly, just to show you what we're looking at. Now I don't have to look at the hourly, I don't have to come out to longer time frames. I've got that blue line which shows me what the 1 minute trend line, the 62, would look like on the 15-minute time frame, and that's really all I'm interested in. It's when this crosses, or looks like it's on a strong momentum to cross it. So you can see on this scan, I can just block that one out for you because it's come out of that one now, just so I know it can look confusing. So it's worked its way back into this scan, and over a period of how many days? 5 days, it's moved 100, 200, 300, 400, over 400 pips, probably 500 pips. Quarter theory will only go about 200 pips either side of price. So it's worked its way to that extension, and these are light Bollinger Bands. It will normally want to work its way back to the outer extension, etc., etc. So that's what we're looking at the moment. It's still below that 62 there. But again, if we come back down to the 1 minute, which is your most current trend, that's what I'm interested in looking at for that precise entry. So it's 1 hour time frame analysis on the scanner with a 1 minute entry for a precise entry, and it's that gives us that ability to use a small stop loss, which is what I'm comfortable with. There's no right or wrong, it's just what type of trader you are, whether you like to be in and out of trades like me, but still be able to swing them sometimes and get that 50, 60 pips in the London session, or whether you prefer sitting in a trade with a bigger stop loss and, over a number of days and catching bigger pips. But you also have to look at your risk to reward ratio and the percentage gain per pip. So that's what we're looking for on this one. I'll put an alert on it here. Just come back to that if that goes off there, because I've put it slightly above quarter theory because I want to see it break, and you see how it's stalled out all the way along there, and then it's been shoveling under, but now it's decided to come above the 62. So we'll just set this as an alert. I like to do mine all in the same color for different things. So create the alert, and then for me, I'd like to go to settings, have all my alerts in pale blue, and then my brain doesn't have to think, you know, regardless of whether you're using pitchforks and quarter theory, your brain subconsciously, because it's subconsciously is how you want to trade. I don't have to think, oh, what the hell is that blue line and what's the green and what's the orange, because my brain knows what they are, and I've got confidence in them because of always using the same colors. Okay, so that's Euro Ord. We've set our alert on that one, so we can leave that one alone at the moment and go to the next one. So this is GBP JPY. So at the moment it's coming up, and I have got some of my pitchforks in white. Normally I have my most recent scan in white, and then I turn the older ones to green or purple. That's just how I like to do it. So we've got a buy signal on the, and let me just show you my confirmations. Every strategy will have a confirmation checklist, and mine is here. So every trade I take must have a pitchfork touch, and then 2 of any of these: quarter theory, the 62 EMA, which I've just been talking about, the 1 minute trend, a break and retest of a 1 minute trend line, which you draw yourself, a channel touch, where you've cloned the trend line and formed the channel, and is it going top to bottom, or bottom to top, you know, where it, and then does it break the channel, and then a fib retracement, what is it rejecting off, because the scanner is formed out of it's Fibonacci magic numbers that make those 5 reversal points. So it's a combination of those plus the Fibonacci built into pitchforks, which are super accurate trend lines because they've got a Fibonacci built into them. So that's my checklist. And then on the exit, I'm looking for 2 flips on the hull, red to green or green to red, which is that the one with the bands at the back that I've shown you. But if you want me to show you any of these, then please let me know. So we'll put a long position on GBP JPY because it looks like that's what it wants to do. And I just always set it at my usual amount and then work out what I'm going for. Now, as I said, I always use 15 pip stop losses on GBP, but I wouldn't get in this until it's cleared that quarter theory with a break and a retest, and you can see it's in a wedge. So that's good because price will have to decide which side of that, that will squeeze it. That's what we call a price trap. So, you know, you can take it down to your previous lows. See those lines all along here? So that would be your 15 pip rule. But if you're looking at your percentage risk to reward compounding effect, you could probably get away with less on this one because you've got these 2 very nice barriers there. Now at the moment, what have we got? We've got it's retested. This is Open of London. So if you read the chart in front of you, where's our next pitchfork? Right up there. Let me get rid of that one while we're here. There's our next pitchfork. So I just want to measure the distance between there, how many pips, because price will move between levels. So this is a big scan I've got here. That's 100 pips. So let me just show you, see where that scan is, because I haven't noticed a lot. I've noticed quite a lot of M15 time frames, 15-minute time frame scans, but they've been fewer than 80 pips, so I haven't drawn them. So my last scan is from 21st of April, which is a buy scan. And again, you can see it did pass the median, so that's good to go for if I wanted to get in the opposite direction of the scan, come in for a sell. And now it's hang on, where's that? Just get rid of that. Thought I saw a, there it is. Oh, trying to get rid of that. Get rid of that for a moment. Put it back on. So it's rejected off the quarter theory there. It's come up to that quarter theory and it's now on this pitchfork, okay? But I'm not interested in the hourly. I want to see, because what happens on the 1 minute will happen on the hourly. Just giving you the context of it. So what we've got at the moment, how many confirmations? You do this on any strategy. Should be doing this on any strategy. It doesn't matter which strategy you're using, as long as you're getting consistent and using one main strategy. I stick to this and I do the 25 to life because it uses the harmonic scanner, so it's very, if this is a word, synergistic, and it's very easy to show people and help them understand what a Fibonacci is. Okay, and I know Kevin's on and he uses it as well. Very good session. Kevin does a couple of days a week in the mornings, so please get on that. He's developed fantastic software for us for the Be Your Own Bank strategy. So we've got it crossed down here, but it's still above the 15 minute, the blue line. So that's a buy signal. It's now, so it tested, since open of London, it tested the 15 minute. Price will often do that. That's that spike there, but I don't know why it reacted to that Euro news maybe. Big drop down there. And then it's come up, carried on into the scan. So it's been consolidating between the pitchfork and quarter theory, reject, 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 but rejecting the pitchfork, the spike down, retesting there, rejecting, rejecting. So it's rejecting off the 15 minutes, it's trying to push up and it's coming above the 62. So if it does carry on in this upward trend, can we see a trend here? What trend have we got going on if we put a trend line on? Get your trend line here, and you want as many touches as possible. So what trend can I see is that. I'll ignore that spike down because I've got touches. That's kind of where I want it. So I've got that touch there, one, almost one there, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 good touches. Now I'm never lazy. I'm always on my game in terms of following my little system. So I do always change the colors. I always do the same thing. That's what makes it fun, really. I don't know why, but I just enjoy doing things like that, drawing my little trend lines and things. So but your trend line is only valid now for these touches, okay? As soon as price has decided what it's doing, although that point may stay the same, I may have to redraw the trend line, which is absolutely fine, because depending on what price does, I may find that this becomes a more valid trend line if it moves over here. Yeah, so that isn't cast in stone. It's valid for the moment, but that's why I redraw them, and we'll see what happens here. So again, put a trend line on there, and I'll give you some trade ideas on this. And again, this is why I always use the same color for the same things, because otherwise I could get very confused, couldn't I? So that goes like that. Stick an alert on it, and then it'll ping for us if it chooses to while we're on the call. So what you're looking for on this, if I put the brush mark on, is you want to see it carry on up here and a break and a retest, and then take off up there. If that's what it chooses to do, it could choose to break and retest here and decide it doesn't want to do any of that, in which case that's one of your confirmations for a sell. 62 under here, confirmation for sell 1. Comes under here, break and retest of that 1 minute trend. If you remember, you saw it on my confirmations chart. That would be another second confirmation for a sell, and then I would need a third confirmation So I would be looking for, so I've got the break and the retest, 62 to come down. I'd probably have to do something like, if you've got two confirmations, you've probably got three. You're just not seeing it. So actually the third confirmation is there, which is that break and a retest of the pitchfork. I was going to put a Fibonacci on, but you see, as soon as I started talking about it, I realized I did have the third confirmation, which is there's a 10 pip break and retest of that pitchfork. So it could equally go for the sell. You know, I don't know till price makes its mind up, but that's how I've marked it there. If it is a buy, then you're looking at a this is GBP JPY. You're looking at an entry of 133.000, but wait for a break and a retest, and a minimum of depending on where you get in, you want 10 to 15 because GBP pairs are volatile. So you want a minimum of it being down at 132,900, and then take profit. Price should move between levels, but I always start by setting it at 20. You want to think about what your take profit levels are. So I'll show you how I would work that out on this one. So take profit there at 200. So how do I work out a take profit level on this if it was a buy? Well, I would look at where that trend line is, and I'd say to myself, I've got probably 10, I would look at it at 10 pips because that's what I always do. So here, and I put an alert there, as you know, and then I move my stop profit in. But I'd move my stop profit only to behind quarter theory or the 62, somewhere around there. I'd give myself a barrier to avoid myself being taken out if price swung back on me. So I would give it a bit of room to breathe, and then I'd look at take profit 1, possibly at 10 pips, depending on where the channel is. If I draw you a channel, always clone it because you need to have the same angle. So where is our channel? If I put it out there, I haven't got a lot of touches. And you've got that big spike down, so possibly there. That's a bit tighter, but I kind of preferring that. So my take profit 1 would be, might be, depending on how it how the trend line goes, would be at maybe at the 10 pips, and then take profit 2 at the 20, and then I'd be looking for take profit 3 up at 133,500, which is a quarter theory point. You know, but you just don't know till you see how it starts moving up here and whether it's run out of steam in New York session. The best times to trade New York UK time are between 2 p.m. and your time and 4 p.m. Okay, so that's, and then sometimes you can look back through the sessions and have a look at a pair that you're following and that you like, and see when did it make its move, because you know, we could look back through here and we could see if it had you know, did it make moves in New York before? How often does it do that? You'll get more pips Tuesday to Thursday than Mondays and Fridays, and also the markets are seasonal. So there are these little kind of nuances that you pick up over time, which is why Paul often says, you know, avoid trading Monday mornings. So I'm not going to dwell a lot of time on this, but you know, I would have a look here and mark up using my sessions timer. I'm on the hourly here, so we might not be able to see it so clearly.
So are you able to put these details in the watch list, please? I'm at work, I've got to shoot, so.
Yeah, GBP, JPY, I'll put on the watch list, yes, but I don't know at the moment if you're welcome, if it's a buy or a sell, will do. Okay, see ya.
Cheers. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye. So, and often you'll see it spike as well. So you need to look at, I draw vertical lines and I look to see when have pairs made their move. So it moved in London. That's the yellow one I'm lining it up with. It moved 150 pips in London. It moved down there 50 pips, and then in New York it went up 100. So I'll mark 10 days worth of sessions. I haven't done it for a while, and on some of my pairs I'll then think, yeah, okay, I know it moves on average so many pips at Open of London, or it moves in New York. I mean, it doesn't mean to say you can't trade pairs every day. You can, but that's how I look at them. And also, which
Sarah, what price you set the alert at?
I've put it on quarter theory because it's in that price wedge. So I put it just above because I'd like to see it break it and then retest it. I probably haven't drawn that very accurately.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Like a couple of pips maybe.
Yes, yeah, because just 2 to 3 pips maximum be fine. Yeah, 133000. So you want to start watching there. And also, as we know, if that did happen at say 10 minutes to the hour or 5 minutes to the hour, I would not enter the trade. I would wait until it's closed the hourly candle. I go on the hour and I see how the hourly candle is closing. Okay. And we can have a look at that anytime if anyone wants to. So that's GBP JPY. I'll put that on the watch list. G Chef Swiss franc, and that was one we were looking at this morning. So that's done a 50 pip move. It's now rejected off the quarter theory. It's still in the upward trend. I'm going to take that off and I'll do new ones when I look at setups later. So if it breaks through quarter theory, it'll want to carry on up. It's quite a wide gap. So you can see it crossed over. This is how I read the chart. It crossed over yesterday in halfway through New York, crossed a pitchfork and quarter theory. So nice little move up there, came back down and tested the 15, pitchfork and quarter theory. Lots of rejections there at close of market. Followed the 62, stayed above it. So a little bit of slippage there. This is Tokyo. So Tokyo normally doesn't move an awful lot. And then Open of London, it rejected 3 times off there. And then finally just into London, made its move up, retested the pitchfork, carried on up to quarter theory, but it's rejected twice off the quarter theory now. So that says to me that it's probably going to drop back down. If you were looking for taking a trade when it drops back down, then again, you need to be doing the opposite. You need to be looking at it breaking and retesting like that, coming down here. And I'd be looking to take my profit at 1.20500 or 1.20585 where it hits that pitchfork. Let me just get rid of this again. And you want to see price come below that 62, that orange line, which you may or may not have. But you will have the 50, was it? You'll have the 20 moving average on Kevin's Ninjacator, which is a very tighter moving average than a 50 that we used to have, and mine's a 62. But the 50 moving average runs very similarly. Obviously, there's not much in it, so you can use Kevin's 20 moving average, and you would want to see price coming below that, then I've given you the figures on that one, and I could just show you on the hull. I only use this for exits, but I can show you on the hull what we can see, what the 15-minute band is telling us. I'm on the 1-minute chart, remember, so that's interesting. At the moment it's still saying green. It hasn't flipped to red on these bands at the back. This is the 1-minute trend running through it, so it's still saying it's pushing upward. So that's interesting, but it is a lagging indicator, so it may take a little time, but at the moment it looks like it wants to fall back down. So I'm not going to put that on the watch list. I'm just giving you some kind of ideas on that one. And NZD USD, New Zealand dollar. It's right up in the extensions at the moment, and the orange is crossing. And I don't know where quarter theory's gone. Up there, right up there. So, and it's above quarter theory as well. But if it pushes out of that extension, I've got another scan sitting behind this one, which I've kept so I can see it, because this is what price has been doing. So I had it in that latest scan with the D point of the 1st of May. So if I highlight that one for us again, settings, there. Okay, so I did have it like that, and then it decided that it was struggling, but actually it's decided it's respecting that scan. You just hide that. We don't have to stare at any more than we have to. Oh, and that was the second pitch. There's a second pitchfork. So that was the best fit that I put on. So I had touches there. I lined it up with the D point, and I had touches there, and I had 2 touches there, and I had a touch there. So I had what I thought were enough touches. That was fine, but it has moved back. So that's how you do a second pitchfork. That was a scan from some time ago. So I'm just going to hide that, because it looks like it is now moving back into this scan. So you could call that a failed scan because it has dropped down, but it did stay in the extensions. So I'm probably happy with that. And I'll come to the 1 minute and let's see what it's doing. So NZD USD for a buy, but I wouldn't want to get into this unless it gives me another chance at coming closer to this area here. But that's simply because of my rules. You can put Kevin's Ninjacator on. Very, very accurate, fantastic software. Very lucky to have him in our group, and very lucky that he has done that for us. Very grateful. So put your BYOB on. It's all in there. It'll say green buy, green up. We're not allowed to say buy and sell. And you know, you can use, I mean, don't mix strategies, but I can only tell you my strategy, which is very accurate, and you can adjust accordingly. If you want to ever know if there's where price is going to stall out, then you can, and you've got the paid version of TradingView, which is about $10 a month, I think. Then you see how it's stalled out on quarter theory there. You could put quarter theory on to give you some simple lines of support and resistance at 50 pip. You can even put the 25 pip on. I just use the 50 pips. Mike Miles does use the 25, I think. He's one of our top educators, like a professor. But look, you can click it on and off, and then it would help you with your BYOB, or even we've used it on 25 to life to see where price may stall out or reject, and where you may think of taking profit early, because you can see if it did that, you might decide you were getting out of a trade, for example. So you've been in a sell, it does that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes or so, and there's a pitchfork. It's squeezed there. Okay, it did come back up there, but if you're in a sell, you might have decided, for example, at that point, that would be time to take profit 1. So, you know, use some judgment and apply it in that way. So I wouldn't want to get into this unless it gave me another chance at coming round about this point, retesting that 62 or the 15 minute. But we've got 1 confirmation there. We've had a break and a retest of both quarter theory and the pitchfork. So if it does come, it may not come back down. So you have to decide how confident you are with it carrying on up without that coming back down. Personally, I like to have my little barriers because you don't need a lot of trades a day to achieve what you want. So I'm just going to come to settings, just change that to a trend line there. Okay, so my entry, I'm not going to put this on the watch list because it looks to me like it's going to carry on up. But if I had been looking at this as an entry, I would have had alerts along there, and my entry would be round about 0.60530 thereabouts, and stop loss down at 10 pips away from that, which is 0.60430 if you're rounding it up or down. And then your take profits are, it looks like it's moving quite slowly at the moment, but take profit up at 10, say start with 10 pips and review it. So that's not too far away. Depends how many pips you're going for. 0.60630. Okay, and then see how you get on. But that's only, you know, price will want to move between levels, and that's only 5 pips away. So by the time you've done broker spread and commission, personally, I wouldn't really be recommending this trade unless, as I say, it drops back. Let it drop back and see if it does another retest before decide. So you've got a bit more ping in it to give you some opportunity to make those 5 or 10 pips, including broker spread and commission. So a kind of trade there, but you know, maybe not a brilliant one. I could put I'll put a trend line on anyway, an alert. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Just save that. Let's move that up a bit. Okay, that's that one. USD CAD. Didn't do anything with that. It went the other way. So it's in a sell. It's between quarter theory. I've got alerts set at pitchforks and quarter theory. So no trade on USD CAD. It looks like it's still shoveling itself down, or it could actually, it's just coming above. It could be playing between the 62 and the 15 minute at the moment. So nothing on that one. Just close that down. And Euro USD. Oops, lots of glitches. This one did make its move. That was that German thing, spiked me out, but I got back in again. And I left round about here where it stalled out, but it carried on down, and then it stalled out, and it's kind of slowly working its way back up at the moment. So I haven't got any trade again on that one. Just tidy it up as we go. See where that pitch. Oh, that's interesting. That's that old green pitchfork. So it's come out of those extensions there on the white one, which is the most recent one. And it's in this other one now, which is, I don't know if I'll be able to find it. There's the white one, but because of that news on the German court ruling, it's right down here. So it's dropped right out of that most recent, oh, that's the secondary pitchfork one. So it's down at that level at the moment. into there. So I haven't got a trade on that at the moment. It looks like it's still, well, it might have finished its move and be coming back up into this scan. It's kind of, you know, making its mind up now after that big drop. It could well be coming up here now, 50% back up on that retracement. So possibly looking at buying, but nothing on it at the moment. In fact, I think what I'll do is put that trend line up here to see if it starts to come back into there. Okay. Right, let's look at some others then. So that's Euro USD, and what should I look at now? CAD JPY we've looked at, we don't want that one. Let's see what EN is doing. Was that affected? European Euro NZD I want to look at. Haven't looked at that today. See what that did in the news in London. What time are we? Oh, we're coming up to the end. If anyone's got any questions, type them in the chat, or please do ask. So could just go through the last couple. So there was a very nice move there where that alert went off. I wasn't in this one. Both a rejection of pitchfork and quarter theory, a retest of the 62, nice little move down there once it got under, so you could have got in here. That would have given you your 36 pips there. Very nice move there. Get rid of that. So what are we looking at on this one at the moment? It's rejecting off quarter theory, and it's now in this, I don't mind these sort of wedges particularly, but it does help you decide where you're going to take your profit, because say it comes back up for the buy, you've got 37 pips to there, and you've got 50 pips between the quarter theories. So I would set, if it is a buy, so I'd have to have a break, a Fibonacci, or a break and a retest of a 1 minute trend, draw the line down here, see if it goes above, and I'd be looking at take profit 1 at 10 pips from entry, take profit 2 at 20 pips, and then take profit 3 at 37 up to that 50, see what it does and whether it stalls out. So whatever system you're using, whatever strategy, you need to decide what your exit is and where you're looking to get out, because you need to see how price is reacting as it moves through your trade. And you know, you do want to be covered by more than one thing. So I've got a quarter theory there, but I haven't got another barrier. So if I was looking at this for a buy, I'm going to put a trend line up here, but that's simply the way I like to trade. So I want to see what happens. Sorry, it's just hooked onto that magnet there. I want to see what it's going to do round about this point, or whether it's going to carry on going down, but at the moment it's been rejecting off. I'll just put that on there and create that. So last couple of minutes, and I'll stop sharing in a minute. So I'll just have a quick look at one more, and go down to the bottom. GBP CAD, GCAD, quite a wild pair. So at the moment, so I've set alerts down here. That's pitchfork and quarter theory down at this level here, 1.74500. At the moment, it's playing between the two, and I've also got pitchfork and quarter theory up here, 1.75500, and that is at the moment 67 pips away, and down to that one from price it's 37. So I'll just put it that side of it. So I was kind of waiting for that, and I've been waiting a while, but that's the patience game in trading. So the 62 has crossed down for a sell. It's down below quarter theory, but now it's come up above. And the way I would look at that would probably be to, I don't know what settings I've got my fib on. So if I'm looking for a sell from high to low past the present, so look for where the retracement is, and I haven't got one off that level, so maybe if I put it over on that one. But this is the thing with fibs, it's kind of, you can move them to suit yourself, and then the fib's been and gone, and I end up getting sometimes a bit confused. So it has rejected off the 61 there, but it's all, take profit one would be at the 0, so it's hit the 0, it's come back up to test the 50, so that could still be selling, in which case that's your TP2 down at 1.74360, and then I look at TP3 potentially at 1.74117. That's my TP3. Whether it makes it that far or not, I don't know, but that's kind of how I try and look at my levels for trading, and that's if that fib is still valid up there, or we put it on that high there, the more recent one. If you're meant to put it on the most recent high, you have to decide which is the most recent high. That looks like that one to me, but if it's on that one, then it's still hit the 0, and you're waiting for a retrace. That probably looks better actually, waiting for a retrace and for it to reject off, say 1.75000 before turning for your sell, or is it going to come up to the 78.6 where the 15-minute one is, and that's at 1.75086, okay, or up to the 88.6. They're both similar because they have to be at least 30 pips apart to consider them differently, or 20 to 30, and that's only 6 pips. So to all intents and purposes, they're very much sort of similar. So at the moment, I'm still looking for that retrace, I think, down to see what it does. But again, if I'm wrong, I keep this here, I remember what I thought, and I go back and I back test, and I think, oh yeah, I get it, I see, if I'd done this or that, and I make a note on my trade sheet for this trade, and that's how you improve on your trading, your confidence and your consistency. So I'm just going to stop sharing. And hi Zelly, nice to see you. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Has anyone got any questions? If not, I don't want to hold Sharon up. Anyone have the enable code for the hull? Chris and Rosie, yes, it is. I am under the intermediate advanced sections on the live sessions, but it's copy and paste really. Join the dots, harmonic scanner, and shove a pitchfork on and shove quarter theory on, so it's very duplicatable. The enable code for the hull would be, I think it's 29 Formay, Formay. If it isn't that, then it's Formay, Formay 18, but I think it's 29 Formay. If I just come back on quickly, in case you're still here, I'll just show you the settings on quarter theory here. Settings, style. Oh, there's no settings for quarter theory. Sorry, the hull. Hull enable code 29 Formay, and you want to tick both those boxes. Take a screen grab, and you want that local set from line to band, and you want this one on the 15-minute, and you can change it and look at it on the 60-minute, but usually I'm out for I very rarely look at that. And then under style, I change these to paler greens and reds, otherwise the bands pop out at you too much. And this is the 1-minute one, I put those in the bright color that runs through price. Okay, so I hope that's helpful, and thanks very much for joining. And I'll put that one on the watch list, GBP, JPY. I'll just have a look at it before I do that, see if it's still behaving itself. So thanks for joining, everyone. Bye for now.
Thanks, Sarah. Good session. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for joining.